Hello everyone, welcome to Everything Arsenal. Back with the live shows. It's a new week. We are very close to July now, literally one day away. We're expecting deals to finally be announced this week by Arsenal, and hopefully the deals that we haven't gotten done yet, we can make some progress in. So we'll be talking about the latest on Mosquera from Valencia. How close is that one? Fabrizio Romano has given us an update on Eze. The latest on Gyokeres and Sesko. We'll always be talking about the two up until the time we get it done. If the two don't happen, we are linked to a Frankfurt striker. And then today is Thomas Partey's last day as an Arsenal player. Lokonga is back at Arsenal. Will he be staying? And also the latest on Max Daumann at the end. So let's get started. That was a very good intro, no slip-ups. Let's go straight into it, and let's go with Eze. So Fabrizio has to say this about Eze. Arsenal have made contact with Eberechi Eze's camp over the weekend. Contacts are taking place for Crystal Palace star, with Arsenal informed on deal conditions. Tottenham remain also keen on Eze. So last week, Thursday and Friday, both Ben Jacobs and Alex Krug confirmed to us that Arsenal are interested in Eze because they're not sure whether the Rodrygo deal is going to be happening. And obviously, people are like, we are waiting for this news from, David Ornstein and from Fabrizio and hand of Arsenal, not really Ben Jacobs and Alex Krug, but they do get some news correct, and they confirm that Arsenal are interested in Eze, and Team News and Ticks also confirmed that, we are interested in him, and the money that we're going to need to pay to get the deal done. But today, Fabrizio has confirmed that, yes, we are linked to him. We are interested in getting him at Arsenal. And we've made contact with Eze's camp over the weekend. So we've held talks with them. There was another one that said that Acta was part of the meeting over the weekend with Eze's camp. So hopefully we can make progress in that deal, because I do firmly believe the Rodrygo ball is not in our court. If you keep on waiting for Rodrygo alone, you're going to wait all the way to August. And this time we have to be ready for the beginning of the season. We cannot have a situation where we are still looking for 2-3 players in the middle of August after it's already a game week 3. We cannot be doing that. So you don't really have time to wait for players. You have to have alternatives, Yes, if Nico Williams did not want to come to England and want to send Spain, fine, go to the next option. If Gordon is unattainable from Newcastle, or if you feel you don't have money for him, you move on to the next option. If you're waiting for Rodrygo, you have to have another option on the side as well, because players like Rodrygo, you're not sure if Madrid want to sell him. You're not sure if the player wants to be sold. So that's a problem. Try Lookman, try Rafa Leao, and then whoever becomes the best option, you try and get. I don't think you can just sit and wait for Rodrygo. Now, I would personally have preferred Eze as a number 8 stroke number 10 more than a left winger. So basically the whole season I would prefer Eze to basically play as a number 8 more, and then a few games here and there as a 10, and a few games here and there as left winger. So unfortunately, though, as it's looking like if you sign Eze, he's going to be the winger signing. I don't think we'll go and splash another 70-80 million on another top winger like Leao or Rodrygo, anyone like that. I feel like if we get Eze, we're not going to get that kind of player. So in that case, Martinelli has to stay for sure, because Eze is not the same player as Martinelli. Eze is kind of the same player as Trossard, who can play multiple positions and has more Premier League experience. And you can say, as of now, Eze is the better player. But we won't have that pace on the left side if you're playing Eze then every single game. So at that point, you might need another new winger. If it's a cheaper winger, like a 10 million, 15 million winger, to just play on that left side as well, I'd be okay with that. I'm happy with Eze signing for Arsenal 10 out of 10, but I don't want him to be the only forward signing with a striker. I'd still want another one, because I still need a tricky winger who's going to go past players and dribble and all that. I basically need a sack on the left side as well. I mostly see Eze as a number 8 stroke number 10 who can play as a left wing as well. But we have made contact with him, as Fabrizio has confirmed today. And as Team News and Tick said a couple of days ago, Eberechi Eze's 68 million release clause can be paid in 3 installments of 20 million with 8 million in add-ons. If that turns out to be the case, we have to try and get him. 20 million installments, man, that will allow us to pay huge money for a striker, maybe even get an extra winger, maybe get an extra midfielder, maybe get a backup for Saka, maybe defenders we're already getting Mosquera and goalkeeper already sorted out, but that will allow you to get extra forward players. Who knows, maybe even a backup strike after you get Gyokeres or Sesko. That will allow us to do any of that. So Eze would be a big signing, though. I'd be very, very happy over the moon with Eze joining Arsenal, man. It's been incredible for them over the past couple of seasons. Even after Zaha left, Eze just stepped up and did everything for them: the goals, the assists, the penalties, the free kicks, the corners. He basically does everything for Crystal Palace, and he's a very good player. He won them the first trophy ever last season with the goal in the final. He scored against us as well the last couple of seasons at the Emirates Stadium. So he's a player who can do the job in big games. He's an international player now, playing for England. He's still, not in his prime yet age-wise. He still has like a good 7-8 years to go if he, stays at the top level and fit. So Eze, I would get for sure. So let's see how it goes this week, if we make any developments in that aspect. Obviously, we're going into July now. Players are going to start coming back for preseason. You have to make up your mind on which players you're finally getting and all that. You cannot wait until like the end of July. No, if you want Eze, he has to be there for preseason. He just has to be. So that's the latest on Eberechi Eze. Let's hope we can get him. It would be a big, big signing. Next up, let's go to Mosquera. What's the latest on him? Fabrizio said that Arsenal have reached full agreement on personal terms with Cristhian Mosquera. New proposal set to be submitted after opening bid with 14 million euros got rejected by Valencia. So they rejected 14 million euros. That's around 11 million pounds. Arsenal hope to get the deal done for fee in excess of 20 million. Talks underway. 20 million euros, so around 16, 17 million pounds. Eventually, I think it's going to be like 18 million pounds to get this deal done for Mosquera. I'm not too worried about this. I think we are going to get it done this particular week. I think we're not going to take too much time. I think the reason why we've gone so quickly for him is to avoid any other teams coming in for him, and we are going to get it done as quickly as possible because of the price as well. I think it's going to get done very, very quickly this particular week for sure. I think he will be our fourth signing to be confirmed this week. And yeah, from this week, I expect at least two of the players to be confirmed as Arsenal signings by Arsenal themselves. I think Zubimendi will be confirmed probably tomorrow or July 2nd, the next day after that, or Cristhian Nørgaard as well. Kepa, I think for sure will be, I think three of them actually. I think all three of them will be announced this week. So unless Arsenal do that Arsenal thing of making us wait another 2 weeks before they announce the players. But Mosquera, I expect that deal to be done. Obviously, we aren't just going to go with the 20 million right away. We are going to start low at maybe even 10 million, then 14 million, then head towards that 20 million. But this will sort out our defense, our backup defensive issue. We'll now be in a position where we have Gabriel, Saliba, Timber, who's coming back, Gabriel's coming back, White, and then the other defenders that we have like Calafiori and Lewis Kelly, and Kivio hopefully does stay. Then we won't have to think about the defense anymore for the remaining 2 months of the transfer window. We can now just focus on the forward players. We've also sorted our goalkeeper situation out too. Midfield, we have 2 options. Listen, if we have more money, if we get all these cheap players and we have more money, I seriously wouldn't mind another backup striker. I wouldn't mind an extra winger. I saw someone telling me the other day that we already have trusted in Martinelli, just get someone and then sell Martinelli. No, like what happened last season, like I'm so serious. I don't mind having Eze, Martinelli trusted in another winger, 4 players who can play on the left side. I don't mind that at all because we didn't have enough players last season. I want us to have a situation where if it's a Carabao Cup match against Bolton, we don't have to play Saka in that game. We don't have to play Rice in that game completely. We don't have to play Saliba, don't have to play Gabriel. Last season, we had to play Rice against Bolton because we didn't have anyone else in that on that bench to play in that position. I don't want that, man. I do not want that. I want us to have enough players. You need like 25 players. Teams like Chelsea have like 80 players in their team. You need enough players in your team. And if players like Mosquera and Kivio allow you to rest Gabriel and Saliba, I'll be very, very happy with that. So this deal, we're expecting it to be done this particular week. I think there's another update on that. Yeah, Fabrizio says Arsenal's opening proposal for Cristhian Mosquera for 14 million was rejected. Arsenal will return to the table. They hope to get the deal done for something around 20 to 25 million euros. Mosquera has said yes to contract terms offered by Arsenal. He has said yes to Mikel Arteta, to Andrea Berta, to everyone at the club because he wants to go to the Premier League and he wants to go to Arsenal. Now, club to club, they are discussing, they are negotiating. I expect Arsenal to go very strong on this one once again. So yeah, with all that said, I think this week it will be done. The player wants to join Arsenal. The player wants to come to the Premier League. He said he doesn't care about the competition from Gabriel and Saliba. He wants to be part of that. He he will appreciate the competition. So that is good to hear that a player is not worried about joining us because of those two. Because when Gabriel and Saliba fit, they're definitely going to start. There's no one else who's going to start ahead of Gabriel and Saliba. They've just been too good over the last 3 seasons. You can't replace them. Gabriel, not even just in terms of defensively, Gabriel has scored so many big goals for us, and he's a leader on the pitch, and we know how calm Saliba is on the pitch. Literally over the last 2 seasons, you can count the mistakes they've made on one hand, and for defenders, they usually make like 2-3 mistakes per season, but for them, it's usually like 1 maybe mistake, at most 2 mistakes in a season over the 9 months. So that is a very good defensive connection to have, and they have that connection as well, by the way. They've played together now for like 3 seasons, and they know where the other player is going to be, what to do, where to pass the ball. Now they have a connection with Dry as well, so you can't change the defense at all, but you can have backups, so Gabriel and Saliba don't have to play 60 games in this season. That one I'm happy with. So that's the latest on Cristhian Mosquera. Let's see how it is going to go this week. So next up, we want to know about the striker situation. What about the striker situation? That is what we really, really want to know. What is happening with the striker situation? So let's go to it. Let's start with this one. There was an agreement between Arsenal and Gyokeres that a fee of around 60 million euros would be enough for a deal to take place. However, Sporting are still sticking to their 80 million valuation. Arsenal are not willing to pay that amount. So again, it is just going to go on and go on and go on. We thought they're going to be happy with like 52 million pounds, but that is not the case. They're going to want around 70 million pounds. I think that's around 68 million pounds, around that. If we just go with the euros that is on screen, they wanted 60 million euros. We thought they wanted 60 million euros, but they want 80 million euros instead. And I think that is the same case with Sesko, and Arsenal don't want to pay that kind of money. We want to, drop it down to like 65 million before we get the player. Now, as long as I'm going to keep on saying that, Bart has negotiated well with players like Zubimendi. If he ends up getting Eze on those installments, that means he's negotiated very, very well for those for him as well. I'm going to give you up until before preseason. If you're able to get a striker for cheaper than what we thought we were going to get them for, what we thought we were going to have to pay them for, or pay for them, I'm going to be very happy with that. If he's able to get Gyokeres for less than that 80 million euros valuation, or get Sesko for less than that 80 million euros valuation as well, because Sporting and Leipzig are looking very stubborn in terms of this. The players are arguing with the presidents. There's problems with the agents and the owners and all that. If we end up getting him for less than that, then we've done an incredible job. But if you want the player right now, today, you're going to have to pay that 80 million, but I don't think we're going to do that. I think it's going to still carry on until they reduce the money. Arsenal don't want to be bullied in the transfer window. They don't want to be, told, pay this, and they pay it right away. So it's still going to take time before we finalize who we are going to get between Gyokeres and Sesko. I think Arsenal are also waiting for Leipzig to get desperate to sell Sesko. So basically what Arsenal are waiting for, they're waiting for whoever is going to get desperate fast and want to sell the player fast. That is basically what we are waiting for. So we are banking on one of them, getting scared fast and willing to sell their player for like 60 million euros because time is ending and they need to buy their own players very, very quickly. So I would absolutely love if we can get Gyokeres. Personally, for me, I do feel like Gyokeres is worth that 80 million euros. I don't think it's easy to score 100 goals in 2 seasons, plus those assists that he's able to get. But the clubs look at it different. There's no club that has gone for him yet as of now. And I think money is a big issue in terms of that. So we just have to keep on waiting for that. This is what the Sporting president had to say. I'm not going to say what the price is. The player knows what it is. I can tell you that Viktor won't leave for 60 million euros plus 10 million. He won't. He just won't. Yeah, that is not someone who's happy. That is not someone who's having it. That doesn't sound like someone who's going to sell Gyokeres for 60 million. I don't think so. It's going to be a lot of debate, a lot of negotiations, a lot of meetings, a lot of misunderstandings. That president does not sound like someone who wants to sell the player for 60 million. And hey, I do agree with that. I don't think someone like a Gyokeres should be sold for that kind of money, to be honest. I think if I was the Sporting work as well, if I was the Sporting president, I would want to sell the player for 100 million euros or something, because right now he's in his prime, and the amount of goals he's been scoring more than anyone else in Europe. I would be trying to get that kind of money as well for him. I don't think he should be anything less than that. So fair play to him. But as of now, I don't think he's going to stay there. They already made it clear that Gyokeres does not want to stay at Sporting. So the more they carry it on, if Arsenal drop out of the race and Man United forget about him as well, then he's going to be forced to stay there, which I don't think he will be happy about. So let's wait and see what happens, though, if we're going to have any developments this week. The moment you get into July, you have to quicken up things. You have to try and push for things harder because, preseason is getting closer and closer. And now it's literally only like a month and like 2 weeks before the Premier League season starts. And we all know about our schedule. Now, if it doesn't work out with Gyokeres and Sesko, are we going to go for this guy, Ekitike? He's already wanted by Chelsea. I think I had him linked to Liverpool as well like 2 weeks ago. Hugo Ekitike is a serious option for Arsenal. Voices are saying, who's this? Is it Randy Orton? Voices are saying if Arsenal can't significantly negotiate a price for Viktor Gyokeres or Benjamin Sesko, a higher fee would be required for a new striker anyway. Ekitike will become a real attraction. So what I can definitely say is after this transfer window, I think Arsenal will have a striker. Who do I think is going to be the striker for Arsenal? I don't know. I don't know if it's going to be Gyokeres. I don't know if it's going to be Sesko. Hopefully don't go past those two plans, because it can still be Watkins if those two fail, and it looks like it can still be Ekitike if things don't go away as well in terms of those other two deals. Now the thing is, we know that Gyokeres wants to leave, he wants to join Arsenal, and we know that Sesko wants to leave, and he's already followed Arsenal on Instagram. So which one are you going to get between the two? Or are you going to get Ekitike from Frankfurt? Now, he used to be a PSG player. He was there for like 2 seasons, one on loan, and okay, so he played one season on loan, and then the very next season he was sold to Frankfurt, or he was loaned out to Frankfurt and then sold to Frankfurt. So basically, over the last 2 seasons, he's been on loan at PSG, and then he's been a PSG player, and then he's been on loan to Frankfurt, and then he's been a Frankfurt player. So he's been up and down over the past couple of seasons. Goal return-wise, last season he scored 15 goals in 33 games for Frankfurt in Bundesliga. Before that, he scored 4 goals in 14 games. So in total, over the last 2 seasons, he has 26 goals total, yes, in 64 matches. So 26 goals in 64 matches. Those are his returns. So he's still young. Let me confirm his age. 23 years of age. That is Ekitike. So I think he has a bright future, but again, if you're to ask me right now, Sesko, Ekitike, then that becomes Sesko very easily between those two. Maybe some of you prefer Ekitike. I'm sure he's very tall. I don't know the exact 6'3". This just screams more corner kick goals here. But yeah, as of now, Chelsea do want him, but Chelsea have already signed the deal up, so you're not sure about that one. Liverpool haven't been mentioned as well. Maybe Man United are going to. I think Man United already want him actually, because all of those teams are looking for a striker. So let's see who you're going to get. I think one team is going to get Gyokeres, another team is going to get Ekitike, and I think Sesko is going to move, but I don't know if he's going to definitely be moving to England or to a team like Bayern or someone. But yeah, this is the newest player that is in our list. So there's Ekitike, there's Gyokeres, there's Sesko, there's Watkins as a backup if all of these deals don't go through. I think you're going to end up with one of them, specifically Gyokeres and Sesko. Hopefully don't end up with a plan C or plan D, because this is the position that you wanted the most. You cannot end up with a plan D because you didn't get like 3 players in that position. At the beginning of the transfer window, I said for the winger position, I don't mind who you get. Whether you want to get Nico Williams or you end up getting Rafa Leao or Lookman or, whoever. I was happy with whoever we were going to get in the winger position. But the striker, I said you have to get Gyokeres. If you want Sesko, fine. It can't go to plan C or plan D or plan E. We cannot go that further back. If you want to get the 2 of them, one of them, absolutely no problem. So especially the fact that we are saving a lot of money in these other positions, 20 million for Mosquera, 5 million for Kepa, 10 million for Nørgaard. Hopefully that means we are saving money for the other position. So that is the latest on Ekitike. Now, today is June 30th, and today is someone's last day at Arsenal, not just one player. Players will be leaving Arsenal at the end of today, a lot of players. That's when contracts expire. And one of them is Thomas Partey. So many people I'd say, let's say 50-50. From what I've seen all over the internet and from people's shows and all that, 50% of people wanted Partey to stay, 50% of people wanted Partey to leave. People wanted him to stay for different reasons. People wanted him to leave for different reasons. I wanted him to stay for one season, mostly because of squad depth. And number two, I think he was one of our best midfielders last season. And because I think next season, in terms of injuries, we have to be ready. You know what? If Zubimendi comes in and gets injured in the first game, who's going to be the backup? And also on top of that, I felt like he would give experience to players like Zubimendi in terms of England experience. But I wanted him to get 1 year. But he is not. Partey is going to leave Arsenal, or he's already leaving Arsenal today. So today is his last day as an Arsenal player. Fair enough. Thomas Partey to leave Arsenal when the contract ends tomorrow. Decision final after agreement could not be found on new deal for 32-year-old midfielder. This is according to David Ornstein. Arsenal confirmation expected in coming days, plus Ghana international to take time before choosing next move. So I don't know where Partey is going to end up next. I don't know if he's going to have a team at the beginning of next season, or he's going to do it like the way David De Gea did it and stay away for like a year or something. But David Ornstein wrote this: Thomas Partey will leave Arsenal when his contract expires on Monday, with the club set to confirm the midfielder's exit early next week. The 32-year-old was in talks of extending his career at the Emirates Stadium, but an agreement could not be reached on terms of a new deal. Although the likely outcome became clear in recent weeks, a final call has now been made. In April, The Athletic reported that Arsenal and Partey were in talks of a renewal. He has been free to speak to overseas teams since January. So I don't know how many of those teams he has actually spoken to up to now, whether it's Saudi Arabia or Spain or whatever. Partey remained an important part of Mikel Arteta's side during 2024-2025 season, accumulating 52 appearances. That was crazy, by the way. I've never seen Partey playing that many games in a national Arsenal shirt. 52 games is a lot, man. That was great. Arsenal were reinforcing his area of field this summer with a deal for Real Sociedad's Martin Zubimendi. Done or about to be done. And Athletic also reporting that the move to be ratified at the start of July for accounting purposes. Okay, so Zubimendi will be done in July. Obviously, that is from tomorrow. Arsenal are also in the process of finalizing the deal for Nørgaard, an agreement for him. Partey moved to Arsenal in October of 2020. I remember that very, very well that day. If you go back to the channel and you check the shows from then, the Partey shows, there was a lot. I was very excited when Partey was joining us. I think it was the COVID time when the transfer window was open for like only 1 month, because we had just won the FA Cup like a month previously, and then we were looking to sign players. And we actually signed Gabriel and Partey. That wasn't a bad transfer window to have during COVID time. That was actually a good transfer window. We went and paid in his release clause. Let's see. Also, read that already. Partey joined Atletico in 2012. Okay, so they go on to say we bought him for £42.7 million. Partey joined Atletico in 2012 before he made his professional debut. Jorginho, 33, was also out of contract at Arsenal, and he's headed to Flamengo. So those are two players who've left, two midfielders who've left Arsenal on a free. Hopefully, as I say, I'm not as I'm in the middle of that. I wanted Partey to stay for 1 more year, but I'm not going to have a rant about it, like why Partey is leaving Arsenal. But I have to see how we are going to replace him next season. Do I think Nørgaard and Zubimendi is enough as of now? Probably not. So I feel like we will need another midfielder. You're going to have to use Rice there in a few games, or you're going to have a double pivot in a few games. Or if your idea is to have one defensive midfielder and then most of those games at home, you're going to have both Odegaard and Eze as two number 10s instead of having two number 6s on the pitch. Let's wait and see how it's going to work, because those are two Premier League experienced players that we've left to move out of the team for free. So let's see. Although again, I don't think there's much you could have done unless you could have given him more money. And as we calculated the other day on Friday, getting Nørgaard is obviously cheaper than getting Partey. Yeah, buying Nørgaard for 10 million is cheaper than giving Partey 250,000 per week from what we've had. So let's hope it works, man. Let's hope it. They're the same age, so let's hope that it works out. I think Partey is obviously the better player, but let's just hope it works, man, because that's a big responsibility, especially considering Partey was there for 52 games last season, and also considering he could also play for us at right back sometimes and all that. Let's see how it goes, though. Lokonga is back at Arsenal, guys. Lokonga, as we speak right now, Lokonga is an Arsenal player. So should we keep him at Arsenal? So this is the latest on Lokonga. Albert Sambi Lokonga has officially returned to Arsenal following his season-long loan at Sevilla. So we've been able to sell Tavares to Lazio. I still think we should have been able to get more money for him. Maybe if Andrea Bat was there, or there by then, we'd have been able to get more money for Tavares, because he has played well for Marseille and for Lazio recently. But for Lokonga, I have a feeling we're going to really struggle to sell Lokonga, and maybe even Fabio Vieira. It's going to, hopefully, though, now, again, since we have Andrea Berta, let's hope that his negotiation skills in terms of selling these players is good. We didn't sign Lokonga for too much money. All these players were less than 20 million. Lokonga and Tavares, all of them are around that kind of money, not too much. But he's not going to be an Arsenal player. The Arsenal that we had in 2021 when we were signing, Lokonga and Marquinhos and Tavares, that was an Arsenal that was finishing 8th and trying to get into the Europa League. And at that point, getting into the semi-final of the Europa League was a good season for us. Right now, we are trying to find ways to beat Liverpool, beat Man City, beat Real Madrid, beat PSG. That is what we are trying to do right now. And I don't think Lokonga would fit that. So, although I still think we're going to really struggle to sell him, I don't know how much you're going to sell him for. Let me just confirm how long Albert Sambi Lokonga has at Arsenal. Let's check. And Sevilla didn't want to buy him, so that's also a problem. Lokonga has been at Luton last season. They didn't want to buy him, or they couldn't buy him because they were relegated. And then Sevilla also couldn't buy him. I'm sure Lokonga's in another team as well. So Lokonga's contract is expiring next year. So we have to sell him right now, or we lose him on a free next season. I don't think he's going to be given a new contract. He joined us. He's been at Arsenal for 4 years now, man. And he's only 24 years of age as well. So he's still very young too, but he's not going to be an Arsenal player. Fabio Vieira's contract is expiring in 2 years. Lokonga's in 1 year. So Tavares has left Arsenal. So you have to decide what is going to happen with players with like Lokonga, Vieira, Karl-Heinz, and Reece Nelson and all those guys. But yeah, Lokonga does not have a future at Arsenal, let's be honest. That is definitely not going to happen. Even if he used to come back to Arsenal right now and start playing, you'd be like the 8th choice behind Nørgaard and behind Zubimendi, behind Rice, behind Merino, even behind Lewis Kelly in midfield. He'd be so far behind in terms of that deal. But right now, as we speak, Partey is not an Arsenal player. Lokonga is an Arsenal player. So let's see what happens with that. And if you're able to sell him, yes. So he can't stay at Arsenal for sure. I don't think he'd even want to stay at Arsenal. Not at all. Max Darman will get opportunities next season. Max Darman can now represent Arsenal in the Premier League. Now he's officially an under-16 player. So another attacking option that you have in that midfield, alongside Nwaneri and Odegaard, and hopefully players like Eze. Hopefully he gets chances next season. I don't expect him to play too many games, but hopefully at least we see him in at least 4 or 5 games in the season, especially preseason. Let's hope we see him a lot in preseason, and then overall in the season, a few Carabao Cup games, a few FA Cup games, and a few times in the Premier League, no problem. I mean, players like Rooney and players like Michael Owen were there when they were 16 years of age. Let's see how Max Darman is going to adapt. And if he does play that well as well in those cup competitions, why not give him an opportunity in the league as well? So that is all the latest from today. Big week, big month coming up for sure. We're expecting our players to finally be announced. Arsenal have not announced anyone up until now, but we know they're going to announce Zubimendi. They're going to announce Kepa, they're going to announce Nørgaard, and then let's see what happens. What happens with Rodrygo? What happens with Eze? What happens with Martinelli? Is he going to be an Arsenal player or not? What happens with Gyokeres and Sesko? Are we going to make a bid for Eze? All these players. Are we going to go for a player like Ekitike? There's so much to see what is going to happen this month, this coming month. And also new deals, Saliba, Saka, all these players, what is going to happen with their contracts? Trossard, are we going to give them new contracts right now? What is going to happen? So let's see what happens. All of you watching, there's almost 200 of you on YouTube and 100 of you on Facebook. I appreciate you guys being here. So let's see, let's take a look at your comments. How are you doing, RK? Let's do this. I always forget to do this. Let's see. I think by now Arsenal should go ahead to pay for Sesko, says Idris. I think Arsenal wants Sesko, yes, as the first option, but I still don't think they want to pay that money for him. They want to bring it down. I think for Sesko, they want to pay something plus add-ons. So I don't think it's going to be that quick. I think they're actually willing to push it to July 20th or something, as long as they pay less money for them. Good evening, Emmanuel. How are you, Elias, as well? Eze on the left, Saka on the right. My God, rival team shouldn't allow this because they will be destroyed if they let it be. Ghana's for life, says Benjamin. I don't mind Eze as a left winger, but I still feel like I would need more. Although, now, if you have Eze on the left side, that means you cannot sell Martinelli or Trossard. For both of them have to stay completely. For me already, even if you sign Eze, for both of them have to stay because of squad depth. But if you sign Eze as your left winger option, now you just have to get Martinelli and Trossard to stay, because sometimes you'll need Eze in midfield and then you'll need another left winger there. So yeah, and we know in terms of the goal returns, especially the last 2 seasons, Martinelli, if you combine the goals and assists the last 2 seasons, it hasn't been great. Trossard has had more goals and assists than Martinelli over the last 2 seasons, but even him, they have a tendency of disappointing us sometimes. So I would still have wanted someone extra there as well. But Ez is a very good player. I would take him right away. If Rodrygo becomes available, says Ayo, Man City will go for him. I feel like Man City are definitely going to try and sign him and Bayern Munich as well if he 100% becomes available, and I believe he would want to go to Man City. So Arsenal should not waste their time and sign as if they're not considering Rafa Leao. There's also Lookman, who've been told we've had a meeting with as well. There's a lot of wingers out there, man. It's not just like 2-3 wingers, and they're very good. Leao, Lookman, all of these guys. A different kind of a winger. Ez is a very different kind of winger to the ones that you've been talking about. Glenn, we are now waiting for striker and a left winger to be said. Here we go. Says Mosquera, but also not serious enough in their transfer, and both left wingers there are linked, are all good, because anyone between both of them is obviously good to maintain a left winger. Gyokeres and Sesko deal has taken too long. At last, Arsenal will sign. No one says Frederick. I still think we're going to sign one of them, but it's going to be a case of waiting and waiting because of the money, unless we now become desperate and then we just end up paying that money that they're looking for. Thank you for watching, Francis. If Arsenal can get Eze, we don't need to go for big strikers. No, I don't think there's anyone in the comments right now that will agree with you. Like, even if we went for Eze and Rafa Leao and Rodrygo, all 4 of them, I still think we need a striker. Striker is a negotiable. Whether the world is ending tomorrow, whether the striker is 300 million pounds, we have to get a striker. It has to be. We have to get a striker. We create way too many chances, and I made myself clear after the 22-23 season, when Nørgaard scored 15 goals and Martinelli broke a record for most goals for Brazilian in the league and all that. I was like, listen, we actually might not need a striker. We've just signed Trossard. He's looking good. At that point, we hadn't signed Havertz as well. Who else was there? I think Getty was still there. Jesus had a very good first season, and I was like, we can rotate this. We can have Jesus there. We can have Trossard there sometimes. And then we had scored a lot of goals as well. I didn't want a striker. And then we went to the 23-24 season, and we scored a lot of goals as well. We broke a record of the most goals we've ever scored in the Premier League history. But at the end of that season, I was like, listen, we've tried to improve every single thing. We've improved the goalkeeper. We've improved the defenders, all that. But we still haven't won the league. Man City have beaten us by those 1 point or 2 points, whatever. We need to get to improve somewhere else, and the only position that was remaining was striker. So at the end of the 23-24 season, which was last season, I wanted us to get a striker. We didn't. I think that was a big mistake. That is when I wanted Gyokeres. That is when we were linked to Sesko. We should have gotten a striker last season. Now, January, we should have got a striker as well. We cannot go into the next season without a striker. It can't happen. Even if you get Eze, even if you get Rodrygo, you have to have a striker there. We cannot have another season of asking midfielders to play in striker, and asking defenders to play forward and asking defenders to score goals for us. No, we cannot be doing that. So many times we've seen Gabriel scoring goals for us and saving us. So many times we've seen Ben White going forward and crossing the ball and getting assists for us in the last minute. We cannot be doing that with defenders as well, again, and midfielders. Also, I'm not serious about signing a striker, says Taiwo. I would have Zubimendi and Eze competing for the 8th position, says Christopher. Rice and Nørgaard competing for the 6th position, and sign Xavi Simons and have him and Trossard competing for the left wing position. So I still prefer Rice as an 8 to 6. If you're asking me between Zubimendi and Rice, I'd rather have Rice as the 8 and Zubimendi as the 6. Rice he's chipped in with a lot of goals and assists for us if you combine the last 2 seasons. He's very good going forward, and he does take shots outside the box. He knows how to run into the box later on as well. And he's very good, Rice, in terms of carrying the ball. Also, I don't mind him as a 6. I still think he's a very, very good number 6 too. But yeah, Rice and Nørgaard competing for the 6, and then sign Xavi Simons and have him and Trossard competing for the left wing position. So Xavi Simons is also available. That's the other player from Leipzig. But with Xavi Simons, all the complications with him previously with PSG and PSV, and I don't know how much it's going to cost, honestly. But yeah, I'm still looking for a different kind of left winger, though, Christopher. I'm looking for players like Rafa Leao and players like that who can run and take on players multiple times in a game. Eze won't do that. Eze will cut into his right foot and shoot the ball for you. Thankfully, we'll have someone who can shoot the ball if you can be able to get Eze. And then if you get and players like Martinelli, he depends on his speed, not really on his skill. I want someone who has both of them, skill and speed, and he can go left, right, whichever. I can see now clear that Arsenal can't win a trophy, says Michael, in the next 20 years, as long as Arsenal Partey is concerned, because he highly prefer Kai Havertz than any strikers. Aaron says it's Black what? Watching from Uganda, I've not liked Partey's exit. Yeah. He's gone though now. Yeah, we have to move on. He's already left. He's not an Arsenal player anymore. I would have preferred him to get one season, but I don't think we're going to give him that more money. I would love Arsenal to bring in Barella to replace Partey if they need a trophy. Wow, I would love players like, if you start going for players like Barella and players like Reinders, whom and Steve gotten, I would like players like that at Arsenal for sure. Good evening, brother from Nigeria says, Balogun, nice seeing you. We really need a striker to be on the next for the past 5 good years. We have been clamoring, please Arsenal sign strikers for us. Yeah, we've been asking for it for a long time. For me, this is the second season I'm really asking for a striker. We have to have one next season. We just have to. Arsenal will always be a next season club if you can't get a striker now, says Jackson. Frederick says maybe we just forget about those two strikers. No, we have to get one of them. We've been linked to Sesko for like 2 seasons now, and Gyokeres, he was mentioned first last year as well. So we cannot just keep on going for plan C and plan D and all that. No, we have to get up. For striker especially, it has to be plan A. It can't be anything else. It just has to be plan A. So that's the latest for today. We can just quickly go through it. So Partey is officially leaving Arsenal. We've done Mosquera as well. We're waiting to make a second bid on him. Eze, Fabrizio has confirmed that where is it? Let's see there. Also, I've made contact with Eze's camp over the weekend, and then I think Hand of Arsenal said that Arteta was part of the meeting with Eze's agent. So there's been a bit of progress there, but hopefully we can start making bids and all that, because now we are heading into July. There's not too much time. So let's hope we get one of them, though, because we just simply have to have a striker next season. We cannot go into next season without a striker. Imagine right now, if Nørgaard is there, Rice, as Christopher said in the chat, there's a lot of different ways you can play with Rice, and Partey is gone. He's still an Arsenal player in my head. Sorry, Partey is gone. So Rice, Zubimendi, and Nørgaard, and Merino, where is he going to fit next season? And then Saka, who's going to be the backup for Saka as well? I'm still waiting for that. Is he going to be Nwaneri? And then who's going to be the backup for Odegaard? Is he going to start a few games on the bench? Is he going to start the season well this time around? Hopefully. We need Odegaard to have a good season this time around, hopefully. And then defensively, how are we going to line up? Can Calafiori stay fit? Well, is Lewis Kelly going to play? Timber and Ben White, how often are they going to rotate? Martinelli, is he going to be an Arsenal player? Trossard, where is he going to fit in? I've seen Jesus posting. Actually, these are 2 news that I'm not going to talk about, but I've seen Jesus is back training. I've seen him posting on his was it Twitter or something. He said he's back after his surgery. He's now training. But I don't think he's going to be back up until maybe September, October, maybe later than that, though. I think if things don't go well for Jesus, he might be sold in the middle of the season. Right now, we can't sell him because he's injured. And I've seen some of that Isaac wants to leave Newcastle. So although I had forgotten about Isaac a long time ago, because 150 million is too much, and Newcastle are not going to sell him. But if he becomes available again, Arsenal going to go back there again. I don't think we have time, man. We're going into July. So if you start negotiating with Newcastle again, man, you're going to get a strike in September, which we can't be willing to do. So let's just see how it goes, man. I appreciate you guys watching. As always, same time tomorrow. We'll have more live streams daily from July, because I'm expecting more transfers to be done, hopefully. And then let's see how it goes. So there'll be a video later on if there's any news. Thank you for watching as always, and I'll catch up with you guys on the next one.